Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another Rate the Transfer Rumour where we rate the transfer rumours between 1 and 10. I try out a few rumours. Daz doesn't know what they're going to be. He dissects them, I suppose, and gives his verdict. Gives a rating between 1 and 10. 1 is highly unlikely, as we know. 10 out of 10 is highly likely. And a few interesting ones today. Interesting, we're both in the retro jerseys. You're in the Bowls retro, I'm in the Cork City retro.
Thinking back to better times.
Yeah, both clubs probably actually to be fair.
Yeah.
But both clubs, by the way, are involved in this on this show as well. So we'll get into it. And first up is a former Bohemians player because we know Bows like to
Oh,
bring back former players, i.e. Ross Tierney recently, Danny Grant, and before that, Keith Buckley, of course. For
Rob
example,
Cornwall,
Paddy Kirk. We could go on all day, couldn't we?
Swiss Spider after loads and went and came back.
But this one is a player that was beloved, I suppose, by Bows fans. Dawson Devoy on his way back to Bows potentially. Daz, he's at MK Dons. He's a year left in his contract at MK Dons. He was on loan at Swindon Town, where he performed quite well in League Two last year. Scored 3 goals from a midfield position. Um, a player that did very well before he went. Very good ball player, very good on the ball, likes to dictate the tempo of games, etc., etc. First of all, what would you think of this signing as a Bulls fan if it actually happened, and then give your rating?
But if it actually happened, I think you could nearly start to forgive the likes of what Pat Fenlon and all is doing behind the scenes and Bowes, as in ruining the club, not going after high enough quality players, bringing in players who just aren't at the grade. Like, they made a statement by getting Ross Tierney back, and like I know he loves the club, but it wouldn't have been easy to do, and it'll be a real statement again if they can bring back Dawson Devoy. Like, it'll be another top signing for us, like really, really solid signing. Someone who loves the club, one of the best players in the league when he was here, in my opinion. One of the best at the time young Irish players. He makes things happen, like you said. He scores goals. He's everything we need, and he's already played with Ross. And if we do get a good, keep Buckley
And keep
back as well, like we're
yeah.
getting a good anchor of the team back. If they do pull this off, I think the board are starting to pull in the right way and comes to their senses, and they're trying to get transfers back right, because the one to try to work on just didn't work out, and a lot of them have left the club since, and it's probably cost us a lot of big bucks in the meantime. But if they got this would be some signing, and I'm actually going to put it at an eight. Right, I'll tell you why I put it at an eight. I think it is quite high to happen. Like, what didn't we? Who would have seen Ross Tierney coming back a month or 2 months ago? Probably not a lot. Wishful thinking. You'd love if he came back, and there was always speculation he would. And I think the same was with Austin Devoy. I think if he's going to come home, he might come home to Bowes and help us out, get us out of this rut that we're in. Because he can really make himself a name again in this team if he came back and he'd be a fan's favourite. Why I don't have it as a 9 or a 10? Obviously, nothing's ever going to really be a 10 unless it's confirmed. But he is in England, and I would say there is offers, and money could sway him. So nothing's over the line yet. There is speculation there, and there is talks there, and I'm seeing a lot of things going around about it. But I'm very confident about this. And last week or 2 weeks ago, I didn't wake up feeling too confident about it, but since then I have. So I'd really like if this one came in, but I'm probably quite sure it might happen. So I'm going to put it as an eight.
8 out of 10, interesting. Yeah, from my point of view, I know he comes from a massive Bows family, and his grandfather would kill him if he went to another League of Ireland club. I can tell you that. He'd
Yeah.
actually kill him. So, if he comes back to League of Ireland, I can't see, and I said this a few weeks ago, I can't see him going to any other club apart from Bows. There's a possibility he might be homesick as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But you gave it an 8 out of 10. Interesting stuff. We'll stick with Bows. And this is an outgoing potentially. It's
Oh no.
James Clark to Derry City potentially. James Clark is another player with a year left on his contract. He's been in and out of the team, you could almost say, this season at Bowes. Had some good games, maybe not so good games either. And Derry City potentially are sniffing around James Clark, whether that's going to be now or the end of the season. Derry City are well capable of paying a fee if required as well. The other point I'd make is that Bows have an awful lot of midfield players as well. If Dawson came back, that gives them, I think, 7 or 8 midfield players, central midfield players. So something has to change there. Let's be real. You can't have 7 or 8 midfielders, can you? So-called first team midfielders. So that might add
No.
to the fuel to the fire as well. How are you seeing that one?
Yeah, that actually is an interesting one. That's not one I actually had predicted myself to come up tonight. I'm a bit shocked with that one. I didn't expect that one to come up. Obviously he has been having the season this season is what he's had previously, but we all know what he can do on his day and what he does bring to a team and the energy he brings and the going forward play that he brings and the attack minded play that he brings. And if he has that on his day, he is a top player. But I think best case for scenario for Bulls, we get a fee for James Clark and Dawson Devine comes in, get rid of another one or two midfielders. I think that's great business. Worst case scenario for Bo is James Clark stays, plays poorly, doesn't get the team, or leaves on the free. I'm not sure if his contract is up at the end of the season. It could
Or
be.
he stays, and if Devoy comes in and you've the likes of Tierney there, he actually plays better because I think a lot of it is you stop James Clark, you stop Bohemians. But if you've added
Yeah.
quality to the midfield, then you can't look at just James Clark. So
The,
suddenly you get a bit more freedom again, perhaps.
like if you did have Ross Tierney, James Clark, Dawson Devine, that's a serious midfield trio. However you want to set it up and whether one is on the bench or not. But
Mm.
what a rotation that would bring to a team. I would like if Bowes if we could keep him, but I think if we're going to get a fee for him, if he wants to leave to Derry, Bowes are eight. We're not doing too good on the field at all this season. The worst since 2013, I would nearly say, in terms of just toxicity, everything going on with the club at the minute, just inside and out. It's not good at the minute for a lot of different things, but sticking purely to football, I think he'd be a good addition to Derry, and I do think there might be something there. So I'm going to put it as a six. I do think Bowles will be looking to offload players. If we are bringing Dawson Devine in, he could have an option of saying, look, you need to get rid of someone and bring someone in. It would make sense, and it would be a good move for him. And potentially both clubs get a fee. But like I said, I would like him to stay. But I do think there's something there, so I'm going to put it as a six. But I hope he says,
Interesting. Now this one's a bit left field, but I have heard something about it. But again, left field. Shawnee Maguire to Watford FC, and Shawnee
yeah,
Maguire keeps popping up in terms of the last season or
yeah,
two. In terms of coming back to the League of Ireland, he signed for Carlisle, but he's never had a contract, by the way. So he's free. He's
mm,
available in the free. Now Waterford were the first club he played for, by the way. Um, but I still think he personally, I still think he would command probably too big of a fee to for a League of Ireland club, basically. Probably teams in League Two that probably still give him a bigger. When I say fee, I mean actual
wage,
contract
yeah.
wage. Yeah, I still think there's teams in League Two that might give him a bigger wage, but there's something there. I think there may have been talks as well, personally, and probably didn't go beyond that. But who knows? The other point is, I would say that Waterford already have, an older striker in Podrick Hammond, and they do like this
Yeah,
Keith Long, particular likes a
yeah.
4-3-3 with speedy wingers. So if you bring Maguire in, and you've Hammond there, it kind of upsets potentially the system you want to play. But all the same, interesting one. I thought it was worth bringing up. What would you think on that one?
Yeah, no, that is an interesting one. Again, not one I had predicted to come up tonight either. Sean Maguire, wow, what a player he was when he's in the league for him. An absolute joy and a pleasure to watch. He was brilliant with Cork
It's
and all.
club here.
But yeah,
Mm,
no, he was fantastic when he was here. And obviously, he went to England and made himself a good career. Like, he did well for himself from
mm,
the League of Ireland. I think he did very well. And look, he's not too old. I don't think he's
mm.
that old. What is
He's
he,
just suffered
30?
from a lot of injuries, really. I think
Like,
that's the main
yeah,
thing. Is it the 33 maybe? But he suffered
oh,
from
he's
a lot of
33. All
injuries.
right.
I think
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
point
yeah,
with
he
Shawnee
has.
Maguire.
He has suffered from a lot of injuries, and if you're going to pay a big wage for a player, you're going to want them fit and playing. You're not going to
He's
want them
only
sitting
30,
out on
would
the
you
bench.
believe, Daz? He's
And
only 30.
yeah, I
When you
thought it
think
was
about
30.
it,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
It's
mental when
just
you think about it.
he's been playing for a long time. That's
But
it.
he's
Like
probably
he's
had
playing
an
for
injury record that he's almost older, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? In
yeah,
terms
yeah.
of,
That
yeah.
that is the thing. The only thing I would say is Keith Long maybe thinking about next season, season after. Shawnee Maguire in, one for Paul McGammon. He might be back to the bench next season, season after. He's getting old. His legs are going. I know he is a fantastic player. He scored a lot of goals this season. He does a lot of work for the team. He's a quality player. But like I'd love Shawnee Maguire at my team, and I'm sure most League of Ireland fans would take him at their team. In terms of him actually signing for Waterford, I think it's a bit harder of a one. He's not too old. He might. There's a lot of teams down in League Two, League One that have a lot of money, like the likes of Bradford. They get like 20, 30,000 fans a week. Like I think a lot of people in League of Ireland don't realise that some of these clubs have so much money and would like a
It
player
might
like
be
him
just a
who's
question
experienced.
of if they're willing to give him the wage that he
Yeah.
wants, like because of his injury record. That could be the
Mm.
question.
Yeah, and I think he could come home. There might be more of a chance of him going to Dundalk over Waterford potentially. I'm not sure what the financial are in Dundalk at the minute, but I do know they need players. But in Waterford do have money, and he would be a great sign for them. I'm going to put it as a four key. I certainly would have put it impossible, but I just think he might hold out for another year or two in England, and he would be a great signing for Keith Long. Keith Long is an excellent manager. They're third in the league, third or fourth at the minute. They're pushing
Third,
for
yeah.
Europe.
Mm.
Like they're doing so well at right now. They need to recruit really well and really smartly of how they do it. And I think if they could get Sean Maguire, it would be brilliant because he could be straight into that team or he could be off that bench. Serious work rate on him. He defends from the front. He presses lads down. Like he's a really hard worker and he's someone really good for a team, high energy and all. But the injury list, like you said, I'd put it as a four. I'd certainly love him back in the League of Ireland, but I don't see it too likely at the minute, so I'd put it as a four.
Interesting stuff. Now, another one is a Cork City player. He's only 17. He scored some cracking goals recently. It's Carlo Sullivan. To Leeds
What a
United,
player.
potentially. What a player. Honestly, really good player. Leeds United, the club that seems to be,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other clubs interested as well, but 17. He's 18 in March, so he can't leave basically until March, which means really he can't leave until next summer as such. So Cork will be hoping to get him for half a season anyway in the Premier Division for sure, because Cork are coming up. There's no doubt about that. But Carlo Sullivan, really good player, direct, can play all across the front line, as in number 10, right wing, left wing, wand of a left foot, really direct runner. Some excellent goals this season, 5 goals, many assists, very strong as well for a 17-year-old. He's been sensational for Cork City, looks a really good player. I believe he comes from a family that supports Leeds United, which could be an advantage as well.
Yeah,
But
that would be an advantage. Yeah.
Leeds have often had a great history with Irish players, but definitely a talent worth keeping an eye on. To Leeds United, how would you see that one?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Again, like you said, he can't leave till he's 18, so I'm sure there will be clubs sniffing around,
Mm,
potentially waiting to watch how he grows, how he develops, how he's do in the Premier.
mm.
He is only 17. He is a tremendous prospect. He's up there, one of the best young players in the country right now, and I'm sure a lot of clubs in England, if not all of them, have been alerted to his availability, what he is, what he's about, his age, what he's doing, goals he scored, the positions he gets into.
Mm.
Yeah, what a
Confidence.
player. He's a very, very good player. And look, I don't see him staying too much longer in the League of Ireland. When he's 18, I think he's gone, and rightly so. I think,
Selfishly, I
you
hope he
know,
stays for the whole season next year, even if it was a case of,
yeah,
he signs for a club in the summer, but he's loaned to Cork maybe for the rest of the season. That'd be great because I want to see him more often in the Premier
mm,
Division as well. From my own point of view, because I get around watching more Premier Division games as well. Obviously, so I'd like to see him live a
yeah.
couple of times if possible.
Yeah, same. I haven't seen him live. I've only seen highlights, and most like some of the highlights I've watched for Cork. That's kind of all just been him. That's showing what kind of a player he is. He's quality. But yeah, I think that'd be best case scenario for Cork if they arrange a fee, arrange a sell-on fee,
Mm, of
arrange maybe an international cap fee. Why not throw it into the contract?
course,
Have
yeah.
it there. Yeah, I think, and then get him a loan back. That'd be the best case scenario for all parties involved. If you get experience, Cork could have a good player. I would put this as a 70. If he is coming from a family that support Leeds, they've got a good history of a lot of Irish players throughout the years. Obviously, some top Irish and Leeds legends are Irish. Ones that spring to mind: Johnny Giles, Ian Hart. There's loads over the years. It'd be a good
Very
club to
telling.
go to. Yeah, it'd be a great club for him to go to. Put it as a seven. I think it's likely. I think if he's going to go anywhere next season, it's going to be England or Scotland. It's not going to be in Ireland unless he comes back on loan, which I hope he does. It'd be great for his development and great for Cork. So put as a seven. Looks to be a great prospect. So I'd love to see him in the Premier.
Absolutely. Now it's a bit of a Bowls themed one tonight for finishing with a Bowls one. A former Sligo Rovers striker only a couple of years ago scored 18 goals in 32 games in the league. Aiden Keen to Bohemians
Oh
has won. Aiden Keen has played
yes,
60 games now for Cheltenham in League Two and only scored 7 goals. So I'm not really sure if the future is, at Cheltenham for him, but obviously a very, very good striker. Was excellent at Sligo, very clinical, came back to the league, hit form, got that move to Cheltenham. I think it'd be a coup for Bowles now if he was to join Bohemians. Like, they need a striker. Keane can do it in the league. He's a good goal
I
scorer, good
think,
finisher.
yeah, I think Keane would be certainly an improvement of what we've had and what we have had
That's an
since the likes of
understatement.
Afolabi lent when Georgie Kelly went. They're so hard to replace them players. And we're not really going to replace Georgie Kelly or not Flaby. Them players only come around every so often for
Mm.
clubs and they should go out and spend money.
In
I think if we
fairness,
do,
Keane's record is as good as theirs in the league, isn't it? But
yeah,
of course,
yeah,
he'd have to
and
come back. Would he do it again? Is the question. But you know,
and it could look really good. You could have Dawson Vi behind him. You could have Ross Tierney beside him and Aiden Keen up front. That could change both the season around. It'd be a great sign, and I'd like to think that we are in the market for a striker. And I'd also like to think we're going to go after a player with League of Ireland experience or someone who played in Scotland or England. I know we brought someone from Scotland recently, but
Greavy,
he
yeah.
hasn't he hasn't had too much goal scoring history, whereas we know Aiden Keane can do it at this level.
Mm.
He has scored goals. He earned his move abroad. As you said, 60 plus games with Cheltenham.
Mm.
He has been playing with them.
Not too many
Not the
goals
goals
though.
scoring,
Yeah.
not too many goals, no, but like I haven't really seen him play live for Cheltenham. I've only seen him on the highlights shows. So I can't really comment too much about how his Cheltenham experience has been, but I think if he was to come home, it'd be a great sign for us. And I'd like to think we could offer him more money than Sligo. And Akintunde hasn't been doing it for us. Unfortunately, I am a fan of Akintunde, but he's just not having a good season at the minute. We need to start the striking position, and I'd like to put this one key. What, a 7? That's my heart telling me a 7. I would really like if we got over the line. I think he's a good, strong player, someone that we need, a presence up front. Akintunde should be way better than he is. No disrespect to him, but he's just not cutting it. I think Keane would be a great sign for us. I'm going to put it as a 7. I think it could happen. I think it's quite likely to happen. It's a good one. It's a good shout.
Interesting stuff. We'll leave it there, lads. Let us know what you think in the comments. Give us a rating between 1 and 10 for any of these. Have any of them surprised you? Please subscribe to the channel and we'll talk to you later. Thanks, Az.
Cheers, Kate.